Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit about this tent here. It's the Woods Tundra 6 tent. It's their Expedition series, and it is from Canadian Tire. We were looking for a tent that we could obviously utilize in early spring to late fall, if not even winter. If we had a chance to actually go out, that would be really cool too. Since there wasn't a whole lot of information on this tent, that's why I'm going to do a little video for you so you get a little bit more of an idea as to what it's all about. We did sleep in this tent last night. One of the reasons we chose last night to do it was because it was calling for snow. It was quite a bit cooler. We were sitting at about -7, feels like -14. It's pretty much been like that since last night. So we just wanted to see how it would fend in the snow. It is slated to be a 4-season tent, but there was no information on it. So, I mean, we didn't really want to just roll the dice and go camping with it if it wasn't going to hold up to what we would expect. There are 3 doors, this being one of them back here. It has a small, tiny little vestibule, not really that big, but I mean, you could stick a few things in it if you really wanted to. This tent is definitely car camping only, given the fact that it is 30 pounds and, as you can see, quite massive. You can totally stand up in it. My husband could stand up in it no problem. This here is another one of the doors we have back here. And again, as you can see, there's tons of guy lines here for you to stake out and make the tent a lot more sturdier in inclement weather, such as this snow. It probably would have actually helped us last night in terms of keeping the roof a little bit tauter and making the snow slide off. So that's why there is quite a bit of snow accumulation, because we did not use all those guy lines. Again, when you have wind and rain that you're dealing with, staking down the guy lines makes a huge difference. This here is the front vestibule. It's quite big actually. It has 2 zippers on each side, so one there and one there, and they zipper right up, and then you can just attach them right up there with the little hooks. There are little grommets at the bottoms of each of them, which is pretty cool, if I can find it. So if you wanted to put some poles in it, you can make it a little awning. And these here are actually the stakes that they provide with it, so you can utilize them. I was kind of surprised because I didn't even know they came with it. It had no mention of it. Go inside here and show you a little bit of what it's like. I'll open these both up actually. So as you can see here, you can totally just flip it up if you like. And you see there's a nice little area here. Definitely could cook in that area. Be very careful though if you do that. But a nice little area to store some extra stuff. This is the doorway. The zippers are super big. One zipper starts over here and goes this way, and then the other zipper starts there and goes around, which is actually kind of handy just because you're not losing the zippers. You kind of know where they are at all times. Boots off here. We did sleep in this tent last night. It was definitely cool, but it was doable. I'll zipper this here for you. So like I said, you have the 2 zippers here. You have the zippers for your mesh panels if you want to open them up. You're more than welcome to do that if you have some nicer weather. And then those are 3 triangles, which are just full mesh panels. There are no zippers with them. You cannot close them up. They are always stuck open. So it does create a little bit of extra ventilation, which is great in some of the warmer months. I'm not sure if it really helped us out in terms of last night when we slept in it. It obviously kept the airflow going, which is what you want, so you don't get the condensation built up and then you become super cold. But I almost feel like they provided a little bit of too much, but again, to each their own. Each of the walls are kind of actually concave. It's hard to see in here, but you can actually see there's like, they have it kind of pulled out. Then you have pockets on each of the side walls, which gives you lots of extra storage area, and it makes it so much easier to find your stuff so it's not all over the floor. They do have these cup holders, which I actually laughed at when I originally opened the tent up, and I was like, seriously? But in all reality, I don't know how many times I have lost a beverage somewhere in the blankets or spilt one, so they are actually quite handy. You have all these little hooks here that you can actually tie up some lines, so if you wanted to do any drying of clothes and stuff like that, which is perfect. Since the doors open in a D fashion, you do have the little hooks here, so you can obviously tie it back. But yeah, we each had -8 sleeping bags and a couple extra sleeping bags and some pretty decent mats. So I mean, we did stay fairly warm and we did bundle up quite well. So I would hope that if you are going to try this out in winter, that you would be smart and wear the appropriate clothing. We did also have a heater in here. Again, please use caution if you are using a heater in your tent. I mean, don't put it near the walls. Don't put it near anything really, for that matter. But we just used it because it was our first time trying out some winter camping. There is a little shelf up here you can put in here. We put our light in there, so that was perfect. You can obviously just unhook it. I am standing up in the tent right now. I would show you, but I can't switch it around. Yeah, so it was, all in all, it was a pretty good tent. Again, it was as warm as it could be for -7, feels like -14 Celsius. But I would say it did a pretty good job of keeping us warm. And I mean, as you can see here, there is some snow that is obviously pushing against here. And that would have probably been alleviated by us taking the guy lines and actually staking them down. Yeah. So that there is my little tidbit of the Tundra 6 tent. I hope it kind of gave you a little bit more of a better idea. Like I said, we had no clue what to expect with this tent. When we were looking for a 4-season tent, we did want something that had a little extra room. We do like the extra room because, I mean, let's be real. We're not going out in a mountain pitching our tent. If we were doing that kind of stuff in backcountry, we would have looked for a tent that was definitely a lot smaller, not such a big size. And plus, we do have friends and family that do come camping with us, so it is nice to bring them along. And we have done some summer, spring, and fall camping, and all of which have been some pretty cold weather. So having a tent that's not all full screen mesh everywhere and having the actual side panels and walls will make a huge difference for us, I think. So that's one of the reasons we looked at buying this tent, is just the features. And I mean, we weren't too worried about the price point because a lot of the higher end backpacking expedition tents were, I mean, upwards to $1,000 to $1,500 for a lot of them. And again, you don't get a whole lot of room in those ones. You are pretty much stuck with a very tiny footprint because that way it's lighter and you obviously stay a little bit warmer. So if there were more people in this tent, I do think that you could easily stay a lot warmer in it. There was just me and my husband. So that makes a huge difference as well. But yeah, as you can see, it's just set up in our backyard. It is massive. It looks like an igloo. But I think it'll do the job for any of the other future camping we do in the early spring and whatnot. I did not show you the poles, actually. Let me see if I can give you a little sneak peek of those too and how they actually are up. So the poles here all have little clips, which is super, super handy. It makes it so much easier. And then they also have the Velcro pieces here as well. So you can actually attach them to both the poles. So it definitely gives a nice sturdy structure. As you can see, you see the colors here. There's a green, a black, and there's also a yellow on the back side. And that lets you know which pole goes where. You cannot see, I don't know if I go up if you can kind of see a little bit more. I don't think so. But anyways, there are little sleeves that you put them through. There are 6 poles in total. And then 3 are the main ones, so that's your green, your yellow, and your black. And then you have 3 main ones that are all the same. You put them on the sides to create X's and create much more stability. And then you have a little one that goes in your vestibule here. That's what's keeping that up. So all in all, I would say it's a pretty good tent. We did sleep in it. We had quite a bit of fun doing that in our backyard. But yeah, if you want to know a little bit more about this tent, this is one of the reasons I created this video, so enjoy.